So we're live on El Face and in el YouTube and in Momento on Live 5. Is that Chicles?
Yeah, she's already snoring.
Wow, that her snoring?
Actually, let me rephrase the San Diego thing. If you guys got hookups in San Diego with the bands that do both, like sides of the border, then it's worth it. But if you're just gonna go down on your own, I don't know.
So we're live on the radio. They can't hear us. Well, YouTube and Facebook can hear us, but the radio can't. So we talk in between songs, and so we cut off when the songs are on. This is our intro song. It's like a
So while this show is streaming like on Live 365 on the air, this part is streaming online on Facebook and YouTube. So there's folks who tune into both. Like they'll have the music playing, but then they also will tune into what the hell we're talking about.
All right. Yep.
And it's a family affair, but more on the Italian Sinaloa side, so you can say cabron.
You can say whatever you want. There's no.
Yeah, you go to Sinaloa and everyone calls each other cabron. You know?
Yeah.
Cabroncito. Cabron.
Man, David, I don't know if it's just the tone of your voice or the effects they put on it, but when you switch to Spanish on the couple songs you guys do, you eerily sound like Saul from Caifanes, like early Saul. I mean, which is
I'll take that.
No, yeah, totally. But it's just like, you know.
Congrats, David.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, that's legit.
You guys definitely should try to go down to Mexico City. If you guys can get any hookups, the post-punk dark wave scene is pretty big over there.
Yeah. We did get asked like a couple years ago, but I don't think we were ready for fly-ins yet. You know? But eventually, yeah, I think that would be awesome. Maybe 2-3 shows or something, and
yeah, I mean, you're lucky to probably break even because by the time you pay the tour manager and the flights and then you got to get the back line. Yeah, it's a headache, but it can be pretty.
It's worth it.
It can be pretty worth it, yeah.
For sure. I get excited about the food though, dude.
Oh, the food everywhere is like
food anywhere, yeah. Just everywhere.
Food and drink.
Yeah.
That's one thing and just meeting people. Even if it's just, different states, different cities, it's always a different vibe. It's
Yeah, just don't drink the water.
Right. Yeah.
If it's not bothered.
Typically, no.
Yeah.
If you're a beer drinker, stick to beer.
It's
Wine,
cleaner.
stick to wine.
It's pasteurized. Estamos escuchando a Datura con el tema Fantasma. En un ratito nos vamos a ir al aire en MVMN Live 365.
So we do the show in Spanglish, just to give you an idea.
In both languages, we're not good at. So.
Yeah, you'll get flack everywhere. Doesn't matter.
Tuning on mics. Give me a second. Aquí tu amigo locutor, programador y muy bien desconocido, Dr. G.
Y su cómplice, el Chivo.
Y el Manolo Diabólico. Buenas noches, raza. Esta noche tenemos algo especial. Con nosotros está la banda Datura, miembros integrantes de la banda David Betancourt, cantante, guitarrista, y Jake St. John. Welcome, David. Welcome, Jake, to Radio Mi Vecindad.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Sweet. It's been a minute, David. We had you a couple of years ago, and that was a blast.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So, David, you have the honor of being our first repeat guest.
Well, thank you.
So, yeah,
awesome.
dude.
That's
well,
awesome.
I will say this. We've been playing the mess out of you guys for, what, almost 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
And
So
we're definitely like vibing out and fans of Datura.
Yeah. So for those who are new to the program and are digging Datura, just first and foremost, how and when did you guys connect? What sparked the birth of Datura, and how did you guys choose the band name?
Well, we I believe we met in 2017. Jake and I met through a mutual friend, and so we started jamming out, and I had brought a few ideas, and Jake had some ideas, and we were like, hey, you know, like, we're kind of really starting to dig like what we had going on, and eventually we reached out to Tiffany Schaefer, the drummer, and you know, we asked, hey, would you be interested in joining something more like this sound? Because we've all been in like different types of bands. I was in a punk band, and Jake had his own projects going on before, and maybe he can touch down on that and the name.
Yeah. What's the story, Jake?
Nothing flashy. We, as musicians, you often keep lists of names, concepts, lyrical ideas, and things like that. So I think choosing band names is like one of the worst things about being in bands.
Totally.
It really sucks. And so, you know, I had dozens of names that I had a list going, and Datura is it's a flower, but it's also used as a psychedelic drug, and it's often used in criminal activities and things like that. So I had watched some kind of like shitty YouTube video about how, like, in Mexico and places like that, they will turn it into drugs and, you know, roll people and stuff like that. So it's got like really intense psychedelic properties, but it's also a really dark psychedelic experience, really strong. And we like the concept of beauty and terror. That's kind of a ongoing theme of ours in our music.
Yeah, that definitely touches on, as far as like the musical styles, Datura being a trio, post-punk, death rock, dark wave. And anytime that I've played you guys, you know, for friends and stuff, when they hear your name, and I think it's especially more, I've heard this from like women more than men, they immediately will be like, oh, I won't forget the name of the band because I know what Datura is. And it's like, oh, cool. You were ahead than I was.
We've run into a lot of people lately who give us the little nod, you know, and wink, like, oh, Datura, have you tried it? And, you know, we're not into that. But yeah, there's also like a ton of bands called Datura.
Datura 4, Datura 7, just on Discogs.
No, damn.
There's a ton. And, you know, when we started playing, we didn't have any preconceived notions about where we'd end up or what we would do or how far we'd take this. We're just playing songs in the basement and wanted to play out. Yeah.
Well, the music is awesome. We've definitely been supporting you guys since the last album came out on Sell the Heart Records, and it's been 3 years. So now Songs from a Dark House just dropped. What was that, in April? And how has the reception been for the second album for you guys?
It's been really awesome. I think that with the time that we've put in just on Arcanochemical, we've been able to, over time just acquire a lot more listeners. And so I think this album has grown maybe faster than Arcanochemical did, just because we do have more listeners. And it's interesting to see what the go-tos are for so many people, because before we release, we're kind of thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be this one, or maybe it's going to be for instance, the last album, Arcanochemical, the most played song is Sapphire, but we didn't.
It's a great song.
We didn't really expect that, and it's kind of been similar for this album so far, but we'll see. There's a couple of songs that are just kind of going like this, teeter-tottering. So
yeah. Speaking of reception, just a fun fact that I learned was that Cool Rock Radio named you guys Band of the Month for April of 2025 when your album came out.
Yeah, nice. Well, shout out to them. Thanks.
I got a quick question. Was there any difference in the process of recording this album compared to the last one?
The process, maybe.
Like, did you guys go to the same studio, different producer, different?
Okay. Yeah, so we went to the same person, Chad Yenny.
Okay.
And it's a different area that he moved to. He lives in Olympia now, where he lived in Wenatchee before. But it's the same stuff, same guy. I do think that we approached it differently this time, a little more confident, I think, in all aspects, and we had it, I think, more dialed down, and so I think that all has made a difference, that coming into it a little more confidently.
Nice. Did you guys spend a long time in the studio, like an excessive amount, or like hours, days?
We got there on a Friday night and left on a Monday morning. So we
Perfect.
put in about
banged out. Yeah.
36 hours in the studio or something.
Perfect.
Like that.
Yeah.
You guys got really stinky.
Yeah. I just got to get down to business. It's better that way.
You're not paying to rehearse.
Yeah.
So the themes ranging from burnout, love, loss. If it's okay with everybody, let's listen to 2 songs from the new album, Tired, and then Nobody Cares, and then we'll talk a little bit once we come back.
Mi vecindad.
I didn't drop it.
You're supposed to be driving, fucker. Yeah, so this was your guys' first single, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, it's funny because it's a song that I gravitate the most to, or I keep going back to it, and it's not really. Yeah. I don't want to say it's my favorite track off the album, but it's definitely like the one I keep going back to over and over. And
this is one of the songs that I've listened to the most, and of course, Sirena. But the one song that I definitely have been listening to a lot is, and we're going to close the show with this song, is Shooting Up in the Bouncy House. It's because it's a different from the rest of your guys' repertoire, and I think that's what's drawing me in.
Yeah, that's Jake right there, dude. Jake Jay came up with that, you know, and like, you know, we did approach this project a little differently, more poppy, I would say, than the last. But still, you know, but that's all Jake right there. Jake was the one that brought that idea up, and we had to sing two versions because he had written lyrics to it, and then I had lyrics for it as well. We recorded both, but we only mastered this one. So maybe in the future we might
like
see
a,
about
like a B-side or rare track or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
So I did notice that your early guys' stuff, your two EPs, you guys had worked with the same or recorded at the same place, and I'm not sure if after the single that came after the two EPs, what was that? Everything Turns Black. Did you guys? Is that when you guys went with a different recording studio and engineer?
We actually recorded that with Greg Shapovalov as well. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we recorded those two EPs with Greg. And I recorded those two EPs with Greg, and Jake had gone and done the Everything Turns Black. He did that all on his own. With Greg as well. Greg moved to Portland, Oregon, and
okay.
yeah, so you know, so we decided, hey, you know what, let's go with Chad Yenny this time and see, you know, how different the sound would be. But they're both really good friends of ours, so you know.
Cool. Did you record both studios with Chad?
Yes, so the full-length
studio albums.
Yeah, the full-length albums we recorded with Chad Yenny.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's up with this picture, dude? The album cover, it's fucking hella creepy, dude.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. That might be something to talk about
on the air. Yeah.
Okay.
You're blowing the wad right now, Manny.
Sorry, just hella curious.
We do that all the time, though. We get so excited that we're like talking. But it's all good.
It is an interesting story that is a major component of our experience when we were working on this. So people would probably want to hear about it.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
So, estamos en vivo a través de Live 365 con Datura. Entrevista, una exclusiva, una exclusiva con Datura. Aquí en mi vecindad creemos mucho que David needs to sing some Caifán songs for us.
Yeah. I'm down, dude.
Las insólitas
imágenes de Aurora, ¿verdad?
Yep.
Dude, they have some good stuff.
Oh man.
The first album's really pretty badass. I showed it to like my kids because they went through a Cure phase, and I showed it to them like, wait, they're ripping off the Cure. I'm like, well, yeah, but you gotta understand this is '87 Mexico City, so I mean, give them a break. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's some myth that at one point Robert looked at what was Saul doing and vice versa, especially with their hair.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, a few bands did it, so.
Oh, yeah, that was all over the world, dude. That was like,
yeah.
But yeah, recently I just learned actually today that Saul bought all the rights for his music. So
really,
yeah. So
who owned the rights before? Was it Warner? Or was it
some royalty record companies? I don't know. Turning on mic.
que acabamos de escuchar, la primera canción fue Tired y la segunda canción fue Nobody Cares del nuevo álbum Songs from a Dark House de Datura. Jake, David, can you tell us a little about the first song, Tired?
Tired, yeah. I mean, that's
Tired,
kind
yeah.
of that's kind of sometimes how I feel, especially like when I'm not feeling social, you know. But it's like it's upbeat, you know, or whatever. It's like, but that was like kind of like I don't know if you guys watched the music video.
I haven't yet. No.
There's a music video for it. So, you know, Jake in the music video, Jake texts me and he's like, "Yo, man, like there's gonna be a show tonight. You should come out." And I'm just like, "Nah, I'm good," you know. But not that I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to see anybody." It's not like that, you know. It's just that sometimes, like, dude, you just want to be alone and you want to.
Sometimes you're just tired.
Tired.
Yeah.
And but eventually, in the music video, I walk out and I'm walking around the town alone, but I'm telling everybody else I'm not going out tonight. Like I'm gonna do my own thing, kind of a thing. So yeah, I mean, it's not really meant to be like super sad, but and that's why we wanted, I think, to add visuals to it, you know. But yeah, I think the whole upbeat and being tired is kind of like an oxymoron there, but
yeah. Jake.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the second song that we listened to, Nobody Cares. What can you tell us about that?
You know, it's with this album, the writing process was a great escape for what was going on, I guess, for our lives. David has done a really good job, you know, crafting the lyrics and, you know, handling the frontman duties and stuff. We collaborate really closely on arrangements and parts for the music and stuff. We share kind of the vision of what we want to do visually with the band, but also thematically with the band. And so I have a lot of trust in what he brings to the table for the lyrical stuff. I'm a real melancholy kind of person. And so my lyrics are probably on the darker, like even darker than David's, you know, like my lyrics for Bouncy House are darker than what's there. And so we do a good job of balancing each other out, you know.
And if you don't mind just speaking a little bit about your background, like what was your musical journey as far as like past projects and the musical styles that you did or are into?
Me personally? A lot. Well, in college, like in the early 2000s, I was in a band called Lago Volunteers, and that was real like I wouldn't say post-punk. It was more like Unwound, Fugazi.
I love Unwound, man.
You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call that. They're their own thing, but we sounded, you know, more like that than, you know, post-punk. Moving back to Wenatchee, I was in a variety of bands, you know, kind of rock and roll stuff, jammy, black metal, doomy stuff, solo projects, melancholic, acoustic, ambient stuff. I've always wanted to play in metal bands, but not a lot of people do that around here, so it's hard.
Really?
Fine. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of punk rock. Dave and I were pretty lucky to meet up, and aside from like liking extreme music, I'm huge into 80s pop. You know, I grew up in the 80s listening to Prince and Talking Heads and Duran Duran and Billy Idol and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
David's and my song writing styles, I think, really complement that direction of.
Now,
of
when you guys
writing.
typically write, like say new songs, you guys like do it like at a practice spot or just individually and then mesh it up after that, or how does that work with you guys?
It's a little bit of both. So sometimes we'll, I don't know, we'll be messing around and then we'll play. We'll like feed off of each other's style.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we've been together long enough that sometimes we'll just be jamming out a little bit. We don't jam too much, but when we do, sometimes it turns into something else, and it becomes a song. Like for instance, the song "Trapped" off of Arcano Chemical. I think we played that all in a band practice, and then Jake recorded it, and we're like, dude, this would be
Sweet.
really cool,
Yeah.
and I think we played it one time through, and we're like, dude, that should be a song, or something like that, something along those lines, if I remember correctly. But or sometimes, he'll bring a bass line or an idea, like he did "Our Ship Is Lost." He did "Shooting Up in the Bouncy House" off of this new album, and a few others. And sometimes I'll bring an idea, maybe more melodies and hooks, and then he and I will expand on that, and be like, oh, a bridge should go here, a chorus or something. And once we get that dialed down, a lot of the time I'll just start kind of singing along, and sometimes I get the ideas of what to write about just by listening to what we've made, and over time with practicing that same song over and over again, you start getting ideas of what you're singing, and it becomes almost more permanent, with a few editing here and there, a little bit of editing here and there. But yeah, so there's different approaches that we've had.
That touches a little bit on the next question I was going to ask you guys, is how would you describe the evolution of the band's growth since Arcano Chemical? And it sounds like a lot of it has to do with your songwriting partnership. Is there anything else that you guys want to share about the evolution of the band from Arcano Chemical to the new album, Songs from a Dark House?
When we released Arcano Chemical, we really we always talk about, oh, we should write, but we were in a phase for a couple years of just practicing for shows and playing out, and so we weren't exploring a whole lot of new ideas, if I remember correctly. And then we kind of got to a point where we did start writing, and things started to kind of happen quickly. I think I don't know, man. After being in a band with David for as long as we have, when we first started writing, things just clicked really quickly. We were stoked on the ideas we were pulling together, and happy and surprised with the reception we received just putting stuff out on Bandcamp. It just kind of gained natural momentum without us doing a whole lot. We connected with people who were gracious and helped us get shows in cities and stuff. Putting out the full length of Arcano Chemical was like a major milestone for us, working with Sell the Heart. So I feel like we had more experience and confidence writing, and we were all three in like really gnarly personal places when we were writing Songs from a Dark House. So it was like, for me, a total release, in spite of all the challenges that we faced individually. Like band practice was something that was really consistent, pretty much no matter what was going down. So it was an escape, and that was really pretty awesome, to kind of just be able to put the difficulties aside and be creative. It's like a massively great thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel really blessed.
Yeah. And your wife, from what I've read online, she's also a big part of the band's imagery. She's done a lot of the photography for you guys. Does she also do the help with the videos as well, or the album covers? Or
she did the album. She did everything visually for. She's taken over the visual duties essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's responsible for the cover then of songs from.
Yeah, let's switch to the cover. What the fuck is going on with this cover, dude?
Yeah, totally. So here's the whole deal. For the last, my father was sick with cancer for like 3 years, and we were battling really fucking bad. And so he passed away.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thank you. He passed away over a year ago now, and so the night he passed, we started going through photos, you know, and Casey found these photos from his childhood. And
wow.
Yeah, so I had never
he's
seen
in his pictures.
Yeah. So it's like a seriously personal thing in commemoration of, you know, my dad's memory. So
That's beautiful, man.
Thank you. I'm I don't know what to say about it. It's just it is really creepy and stuff, but it's also very it's got this like weird innocence and brokenness to it. And you know, Casey captured the feelings of loss through that art.
Yeah, that's a thank you for sharing that with us.
I'm proud of it, and you know, it's very personal, but it's also something that I'm like joyfully happy to share because
Sweet.
of what it means.
I think it's a great segue to the next song that I want us to listen. But I also wanted, before we listen to the song, just wanted to the next song that we're going to listen to is Scarecrow, which is actually from I think, David, that's from one of your singles through your Shanks project. When I first listened to this song, I definitely really appreciated the fact that it had a fuller sound. And one of the things that I noticed across the recording was just how beefier the drums sounded on this album versus the first album.
Yes.
Do you guys want to just talk a little bit about how this song came to be included in the new Deter album?
Yeah, so I think Jake had wanted, he's like, hey dude, like we should include a Shanks FM song. And because I think before I had shared about possibly doing, you know, Shanks FM stuff on, you know, as well, like performance wise. It's a little tough for that right now. I think we're more focused on what we need to do with Datura. So, but Scarecrow, you know, it gets played quite a bit through different DJs at venues, or and it's a pretty simple, structured song. We have the instruments for it, and we were like, hey, well, let's try it out. And so we started playing it, and we started including it in our sets as well.
Sweet.
And it's like people are bouncing around for that one, and people get excited, and we're like, dude, this would be a cool one. So Jake was like, hey, dude, we should make that a part of the album. And so yeah, we agreed to do that, and overall, I think this album does sound beefier in general, and I think we had all agreed that we kind of wanted a slightly different sound than the other recordings that we've had, and yeah, I think it sounds awesome. And like I had mentioned before, I think we all came in a lot more confident this time, going in knowing how we're going to execute it, and yeah, we're happy with the results, and so that's how Scarecrow got into it, just kind of like, hey, we should do this, yeah, we should do that, all right, let's do it. So,
yeah, it's a great song, and it sounds much. And I sent you a message when I first listened to the album, and I was like, oh my god, you guys redid Scarecrow, and it just sounds so much amazing with the Datura band. It sounds great as the single you put out, but I definitely really vibed with the full band. So let's have a listen to it. G, cue us.
Mi Vecindad.
Yeah, I definitely like the recording, the sound of the drums on this album.
Yeah,
we were psyched. Chad's new studio is really cool. He's got a great room for recording drums.
Nice.
Hey, Jakes, back to the cover. It's fascinating, the story. Very much appreciated.
Oh yeah, man.
The little guy on our right reminds me of Bozo the Clown. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We were really... It's just the imagery and the combination is super effective. It's unsettling.
Yeah. What's going on with the hands? It's like,
yeah. He looks like he's shy, like a little kid being kind of timid on being on stage, But I don't know. It seems like everybody's clapping and maybe.
But it does have the whimsicalness and innocence of, a children's party. I could just imagine a piñata coming out of nowhere, and then they're just gonna like maul it to pieces.
So, I did see that you guys are bringing on a new drummer. Is Tiffany out for a little bit?
She is. Oh, did the song end?
yeah.
Just let it play.
We're keeping going. Okay. Yeah, she's stepping back for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, we are working with a guy named Dustin Hayes, and he's totally kicking ass. He's doing great.
Sweet.
And Tiffany is also doing well, by the way. We're all on great terms and everything like that. So there's no drama or any of that kind of bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a weird time because, getting out of COVID, which mind fucked all of us. And then, I don't know, like, sometimes it feels like, oh, that never happened. But, we're still lingering with a lot of the long-term effects of some of that stuff, mentally and physically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an expression on a song from accordionist from Texas, where he says que anda de puerto en puerto, right? It's from port to port, like a seagull, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why this song reminds me of.
That's cool.
Yeah, like being able to get, or multiply travel via whatever love engagements are happening.
Right. Sure.
Is it a love song or is it a love song?
Yeah, I was going through a breakup, I don't know, last year at some point, and
right on.
And it wasn't really about that, but it did spark an idea, and I was like, oh, well, I should write something like this. So it wasn't really about that person, or anything. Yeah, I think I try to steer away a little more for this album and not make it as personal, like about me, you know what I mean, or about what's happening, or it's more like trying to get ideas off of what would be relatable with other people, but also things that we have all gone through. So
yeah, so last time we did the interview, David, there were
turning on mics.
Okay. Right. Acabamos de escuchar a Sirena, una de dos canciones en español en el nuevo álbum Songs from a Dark House. David, when that song dropped, I reached out to you and I said, this song is fucking awesome. And also the song we heard before, Scarecrow, which is a redo of your Shanks FM single, and it sounds amazing with the band, full band. So it's kind of interesting because I feel that when you sing in Spanish, and I think Hector touched on this a little bit off the air, it gives your vocals a little bit of airiness, and
you sound actually even more gothic. Like you take it up a level and go.
And what was great about this song is that the pop elements, man, it has enough pop elements where I've introduced it to a whole bunch of people and they're all digging it. So tell us about the song.
All right, Sirena or Scarecrow?
Donde gustes empezar.
All right. Yeah, Sirena. I was listening to a lot of rock en español when I had come up with that idea, and a lot of rock en español does have very much pop elements, but I was specifically listening to Gustavo Cerati's old band.
Soda Stereo.
The one before.
Oh.
Did you guys? Oh man. Yeah, so I was listening to that band, and I was just like, dude, they got some like bouncy kind of bass, but it's very poppy. But the vocals behind it, it's not Gustavo's voice, it's some other guy, but they sing very similar, but they each have their own style. And so I was listening to that a lot, and hopefully I can remember the name before this ends. But so I was listening to a lot of rock en español, and so that melody and everything was very much influenced by rock en español. And
sweet.
Yeah, and so naturally I wanted to write something in Spanish for it. And
Was that Signos?
Sirena.
No, Signos, the band de
band?
No, I'm trying to remember the other name, man. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's how it came about. I think I was just very bombarding my own brain with rock in Spanish, you know, and that's what came out of it. And we love it, and we're always talking about that little breakdown where the chorus happens, pero aquí no quiero estar, you know.
Totally.
But the drum part is like, but it's like, you know,
it's still it's driving. Yeah.
It's cool. I thought it was cool, and I don't think we've really brought that to a recording or to a song yet until this time. And so it was cool. It's just cool that we can continue to expand and see what else we can do, you know.
It definitely because even like in Sapphire has a little bit of that too. I think that's why I gravitate so much towards it. But it definitely, you know, allows, you know, to explore you know, a little bit more like pop structure, things like that. And we'll put it out, man. We'll play it. So
Yeah.
it resonates with us.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So the album just dropped a few weeks ago. You guys got any immediate plans for the foreseeable future?
Well, we've played a lot of shows around the region, and did we talk about our tour yet, David?
No, not yet. That's what I think I'm gonna reel you guys into.
Yeah. We are July 18th, 19th. We're heading out on tour. We're going to be hitting a bunch of cities, heading south. And so you can expect an announcement, I think, on Monday. We're going to try to get the news out with specifics, but hitting Portland, Chico, Eugene, Sacramento, LA,
Berkeley.
Yeah, that's a fly-in after our road trip. San Diego, Reno, Las Vegas.
Nice. And you guys are also going to be coming back to do that 2-day festival show for Sell the Heart Records at Gilman in August. That's awesome.
Yes,
yeah. So I want to know, dude, what's the story with the drag parties?
The drag parties in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Ask David about that.
Oh, yeah. So the promoter, he does those events, and he also does like cumbia goth nights. And so we had asked about trying to, you know, get a show in San Francisco. And so doing what he does, you know, he just put it all together, like all in one, basically. And it was fun. Like it was fun. It was.
Did you guys meet DJ Chaos?
No, we
yeah.
Was it Susie or Sue? DJ Sue. I think she moved to Texas.
DJ Chaos. I'm not sure if he goes by Chaos, but he's one of those.
He's based out of SF.
San Francisco started
for a long time.
The cumbia dark wave, the cumbia goth nights.
But the funny thing is, he's an old like Chaos UK head, so it's like, he used to look like Vivian from the young ones back when we were younger, and now you know he's a great guy. If you guys run into him, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
right on.
So the Datura, you guys were touching a little bit on like life and stuff. So is Datura a band of a labor of love, meaning you all have day jobs and stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
For sure.
You guys mind sharing what you guys do in your day jobs?
I'm a teacher.
And any specific grade?
Yeah, I teach high school English classes and AP classes, college classes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. That's
all
amazing.
Literature and writing.
All right.
That's awesome, yeah.
I'm transitioning into a different field basically. So I'm working in the orchard.
Totally.
Yeah. You know, I'm
you were doing construction before, weren't you? Or
keeping it brown?
No, I was yeah. Yeah, dude. I love it. I love working out in the orchard when it's not blazing hot, but the other day a dog ate my lunch, so that's cool. Freaking just ate my lunch and tipped over my coffee like first thing in the morning. I was like, that's how my day's gonna go. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think your areas took all our apples away a few decades ago. Like when I was a kid, our town was big on apples. That we just had apple orchards everywhere. This is back in the 70s and 80s. But by the 90s, everything had gone up to Washington. You know.
Yeah. So Wenatchee used to be the apple capital of the world. I don't know where it is now, but a lot of the orchards here are being ripped apart, and they're just putting real estate on it. You know.
Yeah, that's what happened here about 20 years ago. It gets really sad because I used to grow up in the orchards, and whether it be like apple orchards or plum orchards, and those would be my playgrounds.
Yeah.
You know? And then I remember my dad hitting me up like during the summers. He's all, okay, well, you know, just go pick some trees, and that's how you're going to get, you know, money for your school clothes and stuff like that. And, you know, blah, blah. You know, so yeah, it was fond memories of, you know, being a kid, but, you know,
for sure.
Yeah, and the reason it's not uncommon, like all of us, we all have day jobs. Like I'm in public service. Hector works with disabled adults. G for the longest time, he was working in mental health. So it's you know, it's the day gig, man.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
I think you know, most of my rock heroes are blue collar dudes. You know.
Yeah. Any real bands always had day jobs, unless you totally made it. But like, you know, it is what it is. It's, you know, pursue the
real
dream.
Man. It's life. I think you know, the whole fantasy of rock and roll stuff and money and all that kind of bullshit. That does not exist in the real world, man.
What bands or artists are you guys currently loving at the moment that you would care to share?
I'm all over the place.
So are we.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of ambient stuff. Johan Johansson is a composer from Europe, and he's done a lot of like soundtracks and stuff. So a lot of just a lot of ambient stuff when I'm at home chilling, listening to records. The Cure, Slayer, Chameleons. Been into like old school like underground hip hop lately. Wolves in the Throne Room.
East Coast or West Coast?
Actually a lot of East Coast stuff. Like Eric B. and Rakim, that kind of like.
I love Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
You know, like that, like when rap was kind of innocent and just poetic and true. You know, there wasn't.
Well, dude, when we were kids, like punk and rap kind of were so fringe that they were kind of equivalent when we were kids. This is back like late 80s, you know? So it was like, you know, all the cool kids listened to like top 40 or whatever, but all the like fringe kids would listen to metal, hip hop, or punk, you know, and sometimes all at the same time at the same party, you know, because it was all like, you know, we were all the freaks and weirdos, you know, so that's what we used to listen to. So it makes total sense now. But yeah.
David, what was that Bremerton party you went to back in the day you were about?
Yeah, so we just performed Bremerton this last weekend on Saturday, and I had performed there before with my old punk band, and we went to an after party, and there's like, skinheads and punks, but we were like just listening to rap.
Nice.
So it's just like, whatever, dude. It was a good time, and yeah, I think we all, when we're young and angry or whatever, we just have different ways of expressing ourselves, but we're in it together, that kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you grow up, like let's say, in a neighborhood, and with your friends and stuff, like, okay, you might be into metal, but they're going to be into rap or hip hop or something, and you're just going to listen to each other's shit because you guys are hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Growing up before the internet, in the tape trading days, that's the only way we got access to stuff. Listening to Headbangers Ball and Metal Shop on the radio when we were kids, recording those programs and just playing the hell out of those cassettes was the only way to get access to shit, because we were broke. We couldn't do anything but steal records from the record shop.
We would go up to the university.
Yeah, we would do the same thing. We would either record Headbangers Ball, 120 minutes. One was on Fridays, one was on Saturdays, and we do that. And then, just tape trade, Yeah. I mean, I would have never discovered Sepultura or Death or any of those bands if I didn't go over to, like, these kids down the street. And then I would turn them on to, like, Dead Kennedys or whatever, and then we just swap,
That shit was so freaking awesome. Yeah. Back in the day. Loved it.
We kind of miss it nowadays. It's, especially my kids, they get everything on a phone, and it's like, oh man, you're doing no work.
I miss fucking MTV. Like, I miss
real MTV. Yeah.
We would hang out like evenings and weekends and just fucking watch MTV all day. Music,
right?
Yeah,
that stuff was a big influence on me as a kid. Being like 6 or whatever, when it was like brand new and Hall & Oates was the shit,
Yeah.
Still love Hall & Oates, but those guys made MTV, and just those little images that I saw when I was a kid, and those melodies just kind of burned into me.
Well, the beautiful thing about stuff like that back then is they literally played everything in an hour, because there wasn't that much, from Hall & Oates to Duran Duran to, like, man, whatever pop star was, I don't know, big at the time, but it was wonderful in a weird, potluck sort of way.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah, I'm curious about your guys' collaboration with Poland's Batcave Productions. How did that come to be?
I think Tomas just hit us up. Said, "Hey, I like what you guys got going on."
Well, he's also worked with other bands that we performed with, like Nox Novacula, I believe, and
tons of bands, S's, Nick's Division, shitloads of P&W bands, but like he works with a huge amount of bands.
Nice.
He's a rad dude.
Yeah, because I was looking at some of I think I came across like a French interview you guys did. Well, anyways, it was in French. And when I was looking at some of the images, there was different like album covers and I was like, oh shit, I guess that's how it got distributed in Europe.
I'm not aware of all that. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, we Tomas had printed some CDs that were different. I mean, we still had the same cover, but I think the ones that we had printed were different from theirs.
Okay.
And we ended up ordering some from him, and we got some over to us, but yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah, I mean, it was in French, and I was trying to do the translate thing to see what the conversation was about. But
I vaguely remember that. That's been a minute.
Yeah. And what's your relationship with Andy Pohl from Sell the Heart? How's that going?
He's amazing. That guy rules.
Yeah, my partner is I guess childhood friends with him because they both grew up in Petaluma.
Awesome.
Yeah,
he's great. We're really lucky to work with him. He's massively supportive, has he's very resourceful, he's knowledgeable, he helps his bands. Dude, he works his ass off. The guy is he's just a machine. And we are so excited to meet him. We have yet to meet him, so when we fly in and play his festival, will be the first time we get to give him a bro hug, man.
Nice. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude for sure.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see you guys there. I'll be at the festival. Last time you guys came around, I got fucking COVID like a few days before. I was super bummed because you guys were coming around, and I think a few days later, French Police was coming around. And long story short, I missed both shows.
All right, don't get COVID this time.
Tápate la boca.
All right, so we are. Gee, how are we doing on time?
It's getting there.
Yeah, we're there, but it's all right. The kids are here, so.
So let's listen to "Shooting Up in the Bouncy House." That was a surprise for me, just because it's a little different from a lot of the songs. And Jake, do you want to share a little bit about what "Shooting Up in the Bouncy House" is about?
Yeah. I started listening to a bunch of R&B, like really getting into bass lines and a lot of like Carol Kay stuff, and just wanted to kind of go in like a dancier mode. We'd been talking about like incorporating disco grooves and funk and shit because we like to dance, and so we jammed on the idea, and I just offhandedly named it in my notes "Shooting Up in the Bouncy House," and the concept kind of grew on us as we thought about it, because it was just a throwaway title, to be honest. But the more we thought about it, it kind of matches this, our duality of, the beautiful and the terrible and all that kind of stuff, the playfulness and like the depravity. So that's kind of where the concept just ended up sticking the more we thought about it.
Yeah, I think the first time I listened to it, it kind of where my brain initially went was it reminded me a little bit of some like Clash hooks and stuff like that. But then it became like an earworm. Like it just stayed in my head, and then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, I think this is one of my favorite songs on the album.
Thank you. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, our buddy kind of compared it to some ELO bass hooks, and I was pretty stoked on that too. Yeah, so the whole idea is just like about gleeful self-destruction, like, nihilistic, don't give a shit, gonna go out partying. But ironically, the title "Shooting Up in the Bouncy House," I mean, you shoot up, you jump, you shoot up in the air, and the whole idea of, junkies in the streets and playful bouncy houses is just like a crazy juxtaposition that is hilarious, but also just bad news.
Yeah, and off the air or earlier, you guys had talked about how both you and David had come up with lyrics, and do you guys want to touch on the lyrics in this version?
Okay, yeah. So for this one, it's it's still kind of like a little bit of a love song, but this love or this connection between these people that I imagine in my head, it starts off as boredom first, and then they kind of gained this bond through substance abuse, you know, and then in the end, you know, they die, basically. But they're in love, you know. It's like this mutual addiction. They fell in love, yeah, self-destruction, and they just became in love and died together, you know. So that's how I envisioned that with those lyrics, and then Jake had lyrics, I believe, already. So yeah.
Jake, do you wanna share a little bit about where your dark mind went?
Yeah, I mean, David and I have like similar ideas about what we want to do with the content, but he's more narrative in his songwriting approach, and I'm more like figurative language based and kind of like metaphors and weird images that piece together. So his songs lend themselves, like the narrative structure, the story. If I were to write a poem about that couple, that's what the lyrics would be, you know? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's dark, like David was saying, you know, it's like probably not healthy, but it makes for a fucking awesome song to listen to.
Right.
It's
all right, let's check it out.
A ver, G. Ponnos la canción.
Órale. Mi vecindad.
I love that part right there. I just got a message from Ariana, my partner, who told me that we have datura growing in our yard, and she planted it 10 years ago, and it's
right on, dude. Don't eat it, man.
She's just now telling you this?
Well, she texted me.
I think she's been feeding it to you little by little every once in a while.
Hey, what song do you guys want to close with? Because I think we're going to come back and do the outro, and we got time for one more song. What song do you guys want to close out with?
I like Time.
Yeah, I'm down.
You want to cue it up, G?
Yeah, while you guys are exiting, I'll cue it up.
Yeah, so we're gonna come back on the air, close out, and then do the outro song. Ok, vamos a escuchar a Jumping in the Bouncy House. Man, that's one of my favorite songs. David, Jake, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We definitely are huge fans of your music, and I wish you nothing but success. And hopefully, we'll be seeing you shortly on your tour down the coast.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having us. You guys are awesome. Keep it up.
No, thank you guys, man. As long as you guys keep doing the good music, man, we're just gonna keep blasting it.
Yeah, and we got a message from Dark NRG. Qué chido que incorporan el español, and also it's a sick cover.
Thank you.
And then
thanks for having us.
Brushes of Doom, you just earned yourself a new fan. Awesome set tonight. Adding it to my rotation.
Right on. Thank you.
Cool. Little by little, that's how you win them over, man. Some of the guitar riffs from the last song, David, reminded me of a little bit of the first Tears for Fears album, The Hurting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it drew me back to when I was a kid. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
That's
nice.
But I mean that as a full-on compliment,
We appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think during that time we were also probably like buzzing around the Talking Heads a little bit, trying to.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm always excited to see like what else we're gonna come up with, dude, because I feel like it's just getting more diverse, and still have somewhat of a post-punk base, but either way, whatever Jake and I make, it's gonna be Datura. Like whatever we work on, it's still gonna be Datura, and so.
No, it's definitely going to be fun to see what you experiment with, and I'm looking forward to it. I think sky's the limit with you guys. So like, just keep it up, dude. Don't even like second guess your guys' self. You guys are amazing musicians and artists. So like, just keep going. Do what you're doing, and I dig it. And I'm an old jaded fart. So like,
I
appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely impressed with your body of work, and especially the continuation and the evolution from Arcano Chemical to Songs from the Dark House. A lot of the times that second album could just be a mindfuck, and it's a fucking amazing album. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, for anybody listening to us in Northern California, they're definitely going to be playing Sell the Heart Records Festival in August. Do you have dates for that already, or is August. That still being
1st and 2nd?
1st and 2nd? Perfect.
Yeah. Come to both. Well,
at the Gilman. If you don't have your card for the Gilman, get your card for the Gilman, old school. What else do we got? Do you have any?
I was just going to ask, do you guys know if you guys are going to be on the first night or the second night?
Second night.
Okay, cool. I'll be there both nights.
Okay. Nice.
So I think one of our friends. I think Hot Lungs playing that one also. Manny.
Yeah, and also Andy's band, Tsunami Bomb too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got more friends then. Amazing. What about the Sacto show? Do you guys have any date for that one, or where, or is that going to come all on Monday when you guys are dropping all the info?
It will
maybe.
come on Monday, but
Okay.
you know, this is, you know, we don't get to talk to each other that often. So it's in Sacramento at the Cafe Colonial.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice. I got some friends in Sac. I'll have them show up.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, please, yeah.
All right. Any parting words for any?
Yeah, of course. Well, again, thank you guys for having us, and you know, we look forward to meeting you guys in person. That's awesome, and and we appreciate you guys, you know, also spending your time with us this evening, and I guess making us think, and you know, making us think of the questions that some people may have, you know, and hopefully we answered accordingly, you know, like you had wished. So
Shoot from the hip. That's always the best.
It's all good, man. It's all
Yeah.
good. And Jake, what was the outro song that we're gonna listen to next?
We're gonna listen to Time, I believe. This has got
Correct.
some of my favorite moments on the record. David's guitar work is, dude. Every time I hear it, I just want to dance. Good job, David.
Ah, thanks.
All right. Well, with that, thanks again for joining us tonight. Datura from Wenatchee, Washington. Amazing post-punk, dark wave, death rock band. And thanks for joining us once again. Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, man. Really appreciate you guys. And
Thank
see
you,
you
man.
soon.
Appreciate you.
Buenas noches. Mi vecindad.
Actually, Time was one of the other songs that I was like gravitating towards too. Who's the Castlevania fan?
I like Castle.
Yeah, Alucard.
Is that why you have Alucard?
Well, Tiffany came up with that name.
Okay.
Yeah, but because we were just calling it Dracula, so
Okay.
yeah.
She gave it the twist.
She did, yeah, she did.
Well, she definitely like got you aura points.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, right when I saw Alucard, I was like, all right, someone's kicking it old school.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Every time I see Alucard, I like the opening sequence from Symphony of the Night. Alucard, you fool.
I was a kid playing on the PlayStation, man. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, I still play that game.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, so one of the things we didn't talk about, but I definitely want to ask is it sounds like you guys have places that you've played in Wenatchee, and if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about the scene there.
Yeah, so we started out playing at Wally's House of Booze, and it's a small bar, but that's where a lot of the punk shows happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that it's 21 plus, and we eventually, you know, took a little leap and we played at a winery, and then after that we played at a different winery a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to notice like how many young listeners we have, you know, and it keeps growing, and we get excited off of seeing them get excited to see live music, you know. And I'm glad that we're, you know, it took a couple of years, but over time, like now it's becoming more available for kids to go to shows here. And so we have this other place called the IOOF Hall, so the Odd Fellows Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And they they are now doing all age shows, you know, like every 3 months, and it's just super cool because, you know, you have your little kids, you know, or, you know, 2, 3 sometimes, and then you have your older people there. It's a safe place for kids to go and watch bands and get excited and start their own bands. And so we've shared a couple shows with you know, like teenagers that are they're like starting to, I think, get more excited to start their own stuff. And
nice.
And that's what we want to see, you know. We want it to continue on and have them do their thing, express themselves, and get away from just technology all the time. It's like, go out, start a band, and network, and do shows. And so last we did the Songs from a Dark House release of the release. We did a release show at the IOOF hall, and it was, you know, like sold out and then some.
That's awesome.
That was just really exciting. You know, it's exciting to see like everybody be in it with us.
Nice.
And that fuels us up, you know, quite a bit. You know, it's exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely including like the younger youth, because, you know, over time they're going to show up to your shows as they start maturing, as they start becoming of age. I mean, it just kind of reminds me of what happened in Watsonville. I mean, it took some years to develop like the locations, like the shows at the youth center, but then, you know, like promoters start noticing that, hey, if I book this band, I'm guaranteed to have this many people show up. Maybe not all of them can drink, but there's going to be like a good attendance. Yeah.
Do it yourself. Make it work.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Really, really, really had a good time with you guys. Can't wait to see you guys in person in a couple months. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
No, just want to say
thank you guys.
Pleasure to meet you, Jake.
Definitely. I think your album's probably going to make our best of at the end of the year. That's not a secret already. I think we already dropped a hint like weeks ago when Manny played Sirena.
Sirena, yeah.
Sirena.
I'm like, oh, they got a new album. All right, you know, yeah. So
yeah.
Anyways, but that'll be around December. All right.
Yeah.
We'll send you a set list when that happens. But thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it, guys.